Good day. So now I will discuss to you the next chapter of the subject, the job order costing. So from our past or from our previous topic, we discussed the cost accounting cycle. So dun sa ating cost accounting cycle, pinapakita dun kung paano natin na-accumulate yung financial informations para makuha yung cost of our production. So, nalaman natin na from the purchase of our materials, nilalagay natin siya sa ating raw materials inventory. Kapag nagre-request ngayon si production, nilalagay natin yung ating materials to the work in process. And in order to convert that raw materials into finished goods, kailangan natin ng labor and our indirect costs na pinapasok natin sa ating factory overhead. And kapag natapos yung work na yon or yung product na yon, um, dumediretso siya ngayon sa ating finished goods inventory. And kapag na nabenta natin, so yung last step niya is yung ating cost of goods sold or yung ating cost of sales. So sana naintindihan nyo yung ating explanation ng cost accounting cycle, especially dun sa ating prelim exam. Now, let's go to job order costing. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng job order costing? It is a procedure of accumulating and allocating materials, labor, and overhead by job order. So, nire-record natin yung ating mga expenses ng ating paggawa ng ating product by job order. So, ano ibig sabihin ng job order? So, kung alam nyo yon yung may naririnig kayo na mga made-to-order products, so dito yon naka-classify yung pag-costing nun. Dito naka-classify sa ating job order costing. Now, let's proceed to the characteristics of a job order costing. First, ang nature nitong ating job order costing is heterogeneous or unique yung product. So, ang main example nito is yung mga gumagawa ng car. So, alam natin na yung production ng car is hindi katulad ng sa factory na continuous yung production. So, again, unique yung product. For example, nagpa-customize si customer. Nag-order siya ng ganitong product pero pina-customize niya. Ibig sabihin, heterogeneous or unique yung kanyang product na gustong bilhin sa atin. What else? Yung mga customized na mga furnitures, yung mga customized t-shirts, those are under job order costing method. Next is we have yung kanyang accumulation. Again, kanina yung nature niya is heterogeneous or unique. So, gagawa lang tayo ng ganitong klaseng product kapag dinemand ni customer o kapag nagsabi siya na ipapa-customize niya or magkakaroon ng made to order ng mga produkto. Next, we have the cost accumulation. So, paano tayo nag-accumulate or paano natin kinukuha yung cost? So, again, by job order. Unlike sa massive production, for example, yung nasa mga factory, paggawa niyan, yung pag-accumulate ng cost niyan is nakadepende yun sa dami ng natapos. Unlike dito sa ating job order costing, magdedepende yan sa job order mismo. Kung ano yung mga nagastos, yun yung cost ng product. Next, we have reporting. Paano natin nire-report? Again, by job order. Next, when unit cost is computed. So since yung cost accumulation natin is by job order, mako-compute or makukuha lang natin yung unit cost natin upon completion. Ibig sabihin kapag natapos yung ating product. Kasi nga, sa pag-compute natin ng ating unit cost, production cost per job, yung total amount, ang nandito is yung ating raw materials plus direct labor plus factory overhead. I-add natin yan and then i-divide natin sa number of units para makuha natin yung ating unit cost. Next is, saan naman natin nire-record yung ating work in process. So, meron tayong tinatawag na job order cost sheet. So, ito yung magiging subsidiary record natin para malaman kung magkano yung nagastos natin sa job order na in-order sa atin ng ating customer. Okay, so we have here our example para mas maintindihan natin. So, the Duterte 30 company had the following inventories on August 1 of the current year. So, given dito yung ating balances from our job 301. So, again, naka-per job ito. So, ito yung balances natin for August 1. Finished goods, 25,000. Work in process, we have 18,500. Materials, we have 22,000. Again, ang ibig sabihin nito, yung job 301 natin, may mga portion doon na natapos na and hindi pa nabebenta, yun yung finished goods. Yung work in process naman, ito yung portion ng ating inventory na on process, ibig sabihin hindi pa siya natatapos. Yun yung 18,500 and yung materials na 22,000, ito yung raw materials pa natin na hindi pa nagagamit. Take note that itong mga cost na ito ay para sa job 301 lamang. Hindi natin ito pwedeng gamitin sa ibang job kasi nga naka-specific or unique yung ating job order. Kaya kung ano yung cost na nagamit para doon na job, para doon lang talaga yon. Hindi na siya pwedeng gamitin sa ibang job. So, the work in process, account control, 2 jobs. So, meron tayo ditong job 401 pa natin natatapos kasi nga work in process pa siya. And the job 402. So, ito yung ating mga cost, materials, or in factory, overhead. Again, ito yung ating tinatawag na total manufacturing cost. Kapag in-add natin itong tatlo, ito yung nakukuha natin na total manufacturing cost. So now, let's proceed to our transactions. So kung mapapansin natin, yung given natin ay the same lang doon sa ating cost accounting cycle. Except, kasi nga dito sa ating job order costing, yung pagre-record natin, yung pag-accumulate natin ng cost ay naka-per job. So yun lang naman yung sinasabi niya. Pero again, the same yung diniscuss natin from our past topic na cost accounting cycle. Dito lang is naka-per job siya. So I hope na tatapusin niyo talaga yung panonood ng ating video para mas maintindihan natin no, yung ating subject na cost accounting. Later on, kapag nagtrabaho kayo, isa ito sa mga field na mapupuntahan nyo. And isa ito sa mga pinaka-challenging na accounting sa lahat ng accounting. So, number 1, materials purchased on account. So, bumili daw ng materials at inutang. Yung magiging entry natin dito is, so our entry would be a debit to raw materials of 32,000 and credit to accounts payable of 32,000. Again, kapag purchase tayo, papasok yung ating material sa ating raw materials inventory account. Next, transaction, materials issued for production. So, eto na yung materials na gagamitin kasi i-convert na yung ating raw materials to finished goods. So, materials issued for production, 26,000. Of this amount, 4,000 was for indirect materials. Again, kapag sinabing indirect materials, mapupunta yan sa ating natawag na factory overhead dash control. The difference was distributed 5,500 to job 401, 7,000 to job 402, and 9,500 to job 403. So kapag ganito, again every job 401, 402, and 403, meron silang sariling job order cost sheet. So again, dapat nakaseparate yung cost nila. Kasi nga, nag-accumulate tayo ng cost or nire-report natin by job order. So yung magiging entry natin for this transaction is a debit to in process of 22,000. That is yung sinabi na the difference. Kasi yung ating indirect materials is mapupunta siya sa ating factory overhead control. Kapag sinabing control, actual expense. Again, factory overhead control and actual expense. Yun, 4,000. And credit natin yung raw materials kasi nga, ginamit na natin siya sa ating production. So, kung magkakaroon tayo ng T account for raw materials, kanina, yung nag-purchase tayo, meron tayong 32,000. Kapag nilagay na natin siya sa or inisyu na natin siya for production, etong 26,000 is so ganun yung ating magiging T account. Ma'am, paano po yung pag-distribute? Again, itong 26,000 hahatiin ito sa tatlo based dun sa sinabi sa ating problem. Ang sabi daw dito, hinati siya kay job 401, job 402, and job 403. So, dapat meron kang tatlong job order cost sheet for each job. Next transaction, materials returned to the warehouse from the factory, 800 of which 3,000 was for indirect materials and the balance from job 403. Again, sabi daw dito, meron tayong inisyu sa production no number 2. Pero pagdating sa number 3, meron daw tayong isinauli. Siguro sobra yung inisyu natin, kaya nagkaroon ng return. Binalik natin sa warehouse natin. So, 800 daw doon. Tama ba ito? So, again, 800 daw yung binalik sa ating warehouse, of which 300 pala dapat. 300 was for indirect materials. The balance from job 403. Hindi ko alam kung na-record ba yun. Again, balik tayo, yung materials na ni-return from the warehouse is 800. So, 300 pesos nun was for indirect materials. That is from job 403. Okay, ito yung magiging entry natin since binalik sa warehouse yung ating raw materials kanina na ating natin kanina sa number 2, raw materials daw na ibinalik is 800. Sabi, 300 daw dito is for indirect. Again, kapag sinabing indirect, factory head control. 100. Then, yung direct materials from job 4, 500. Yung entry natin. Okay, medyo mahilig siyang magsauli. Number 4, materials returned to vendors. binalik natin sa ating, sa pinagbilhan natin ng material. So, 2,000 daw yung binalik. Okay, yung entry natin is debit tayo ng accounts payable kasi nga sabi dun sa number 1 natin, inutang natin yung ating, materials na debit tayo ng accounts payable, 2,000, credit tayo ng raw materials. Next transaction, payroll after deducting 2025 for withholding taxes, 1,600 for SSS, 275 for PhilHealth, and 1,200 for pag-ibig. So, yung payroll daw natin after natin na i-deduct ito is 32,800. The payroll due to the employees was paid during the month. So, kapag nag-entry tayo, pwede nating isa-isahin. Pero, I suggest na diretsuhin na lang natin yung ating mga government contribution payable. So, yung ating entry is magkakaroon tayo ng debit to payroll. Again, yung payroll, yung content ng payroll natin is yung ating mga contribution. And syempre, yung pasweldo natin sa ating mga empleyado. Sabi daw dito, um, meron pa palang withholding tax. So, meron tayong SSS premium na, wait muna, withholding tax na 2025. Meron tayong SSS premium 1,600. Meron tayong 375 for PhilHealth and 1,200 for pag-ibig. Yan ano, yung sabi sa problem natin, payroll daw after deducting all the government contribution payable is 32,800. Ibig sabihin, itong ating cash is 32,800. Sabi din naman kasi sa ating problem na the payroll due to the employee was paid during the month. Ibig sabihin, na natin gagamitan ng accounts payable. Diretso na tayo sa cash. So, kung ito-total natin ito, this is 6,200 and this is 32,800. Yung total payroll natin is, you have 39,000 pesos. Again, these accounts, these 4 accounts here, these are payables pa. So, kaya naka-credit siya. Yung payroll, that is an expense account. And yung cash, yan yung ibinayad natin na pasweldo sa ating mga empleyado. Next transaction, the payroll was distributed as follows. So, 10,400 daw kay job 401, 12,500 for job 402, 10,500 to 403, and the balance represents indirect labor. So, again, magdi-distribute tayo for our job orders, and meron daw dito yung para sa indirect labor. So, kapag sinabing indirect, again, factory overhead control. So, yung total ng ating direct labor, ito yung naka-distribute per job, 10,400, 12,500, and 10,500. Yung total niyan is 33,400. So, work in process natin kasi nga direct labor siya. Lahat ng direct, diretso sa ating work in process. That is 33,400. And sabi daw, yung balance nagre-represent na indirect labor. So, yung number 5 natin kanina, yung total payroll natin is 39,000. Again, tatanggalin natin siya as expense kasi nga, i-distribute natin siya para ma-convert yung ating raw materials into a finished product. So, ang balance nito, we have 5,100. So, ito yung ating indirect labor. Next transaction, the share of the employer for payroll was recorded. 2,000 for SSS, 375 for PhilHealth, and 1,200 for pag-ibig funds. So kapag nagtrabaho kayo, aside sa um, share ninyo na ibabawas sa inyong mga sweldo, magkakaroon din ng share si employer sa contribution niyo. So madadagdag ito sa kanyang expense account. So i-debit payroll kasi part naman talaga ito ng payroll. Puwede natin gawin, government contribution expense kasi, ah, share ito ni employer. And then we credit the payable accounts. So payroll 3575, SSS field, in-add lang natin. So total payroll is 575. Okay, so ibahin natin yung ating entry ano, dapat debit tayo government contribution, expense account ito, hindi ito kasali dapat sa payroll. And then credit tayo, the same, SS PhilHealth and Pag-ibig. Next transaction, factory overhead other than any previously mentioned amounted to 16,000. Included in this figure were 4,000 for depreciation of factory building and equipment and 1,950 for expired insurance on the factory. The remaining overhead was unpaid at the end of August. So again, these are mga expenses natin actual. Wala tayong outflow ng cash, pero we consider this as our expense kasi nga ito yung depreciation ng ating ginamit na equipment and yung ating factory building as well as our insurance. So our entry would be, so ito yung magiging entry natin. Since factory overhead siya, actual expense, that is factory overhead control. Itong ating factory overhead control is 10,000 pesos. Sabi dito, yung depreciation natin is 4,000. And meron tayo sa ating expired insurance. So, i-credit natin yung ating prepaid insurance account, which is 1,950. And the remaining daw is unpaid. Sabihin, meron tayong accounts payable na 10,000 pesos. Next, transaction factory overhead was applied to production at the rate of 80% of direct labor cost. So kanina, yung mga actual expenses natin, nire-record natin siya through factory overhead control. Ngayon, meron kasi tayong tinatawag na estimate. Ano kasi, kapag meron tayong pag kailangan natin ng amount para, mag-ano tayo, kapag kailangan natin ang amount para makapagbigay tayo ng estimated din na sales price. So, kailangan natin talagang mag-estimate for factory overhead. 'Yun, para makuha natin yung, um, approximate or yung probable na cost natin. So, sabi daw dito, factory overhead was applied to production at the rate of 80% of direct labor cost. So, kung napansin nyo, every time na magkaroon tayo ng actual expense for factory overhead, dinedebit natin yung factory overhead control. So, again, itong factory overhead applied, ito pa yung i-a-apply natin sa ating work in process. Kasi nga, hindi natin mako-convert yung ating raw materials into finished goods kung hindi tayo gagastos ng direct labor and factory overhead. So, ganito ang magiging entry. So again, yung in-apply doon natin sa ating production, ibig sabihin in-apply, yun yung napunta sa ating work in process talaga. We debit, yan 80% doon ng direct labor cost. Kung babalikan natin yung ating entry kanina, yung direct labor cost natin sa ating transaction number 6, yung ating work in process doon na nilagay for direct labor is 33,400 peso. Sabi dito, transaction or sa transaction na binigay, 80% daw yung in-applied na factory overhead. So, yung 80% ng ating 33,400 na direct labor cost is 26,720. Again, estimate lang ito, pero ito yung in-apply natin sa process. Okay. So, sabi dito, yung ating job 401 daw and ating job 402 is nakumpleto na lahat and na-transfer na siya sa ating finished good warehouse. So, dapat makita na natin yung cost or yung na-report natin ng mga cost para ma-convert yung ating job 401 and job 402. So, dapat meron tayong job order cost sheet na prepare para makuha natin yung cost na yun. So, eto siya. Yung pinakasimpleng ginawa ko is gumawa tayo ng T-account for these jobs. Meron tayong work in process kanina. May given tayo na for job 401. May beginning tayo na 7,500 and 11,000. So, yan siya galing. 7,500, that is the beginning. Work in process account control for job 401 and 402. 7,500 and 11,000. So, 7,500 and 11,000. So, kung babalikan natin yung ating materials, labor, and overhead, eto siya. 5,500. Sinabi naman yan kanina dun sa ating transaction. 5,500 and 7,000. Eto siya. Para mas masundan natin. Ito. 5,500 and 7,000 daw for our 402. Yan yung nilagay natin sa ating account. 5,500, 7,000. For our labor naman, we have 10,400 and 12,500. Nating T-account, 10,400 and 12,500. Ma'am, paano natin kinompute yung ating overhead kasi hindi naman given? Again, ang sabi dun sa problem, 80% daw ng direct labor. So, kapag kinompute natin 10,400 times 80%, ang magiging labas niya is 8,320. Kapag naman yung 12,500 na labor, times natin, tayo natin 80,000 or 80%, kuha natin yung 10,000. Kaya, yung ating overhead is 10,000. Ang sabi sa ating transaction or sa information na ibinigay, um, natapos daw lahat. So, ito-total lang natin to. Sabihin, for job 401, 31,720 yung total cost niya and na-transfer na siya doon sa ating finished goods. And yung ating job 402, total niya is 40,500. Again, this is for a work in process. Kapag gumawa tayo ulit ng T-account ng pag-transfer nitong dalawang to, finished goods inventory na tayo. Okay, next information. Jobs 301 and 401 was shipped and billed at a gross profit of 40% of the cost. So, yung job 301 natin and job 401 na ibenta na natin at a gross profit of 40% ng ating cost. So, kung babalikan natin dito, meron tayong finished goods for job 301 na 25,000 and yung kanina for job 401, we have 31,720. So, this is our T account for the finished goods. So, i-compute natin ngayon. Magkakaroon tayo ng entry para sa pagbenta natin ng ating 301 and 401 na job. Again ha, yung ating na-compute ay cost. Ito na yung buong cost ng job 401. Ito na yung buong cost ng ating job 301. So ang sabi daw na ibenta natin 40%, ang gross profit is 40% ng cost. So kung babalikan natin yung ating basic na merchandising, meron tayong sales, ibabawas natin yung ating cost of sales or yung ating tinatawag na cost of goods sold. Cost of goods sold, babawas natin. So, yung answer natin dito, yung gross profit. Again, no, ito yung ating formula. So, ang sinabi dito sa ating transaction, 40% daw yung gross profit. 40% of the cost of goods sold. So, kapag ganun yung pagka-state niya sa transaction, ibig sabihin, yung cost of goods sold natin is yun yung 100%. Again ha, ang sinabi dun sa ating problem is naibenta daw natin yung ating 301 and 401 job at a gross profit of 40% of the cost. So kapag ganyan yung pagkasabi, ang 100% natin is yung cost of goods sold. Meron kasing dalawang klase ng pag-compute ng ating gross profit based on sales and based on cost of goods sold. Kapag sinabing based on cost of goods sold, ibig sabihin yung cost of goods sold natin ng 100%. Kapag sinabing based on sales, yung 100% natin is sales. So, since dito sa problem natin, based on cost, so, yung 100% natin is yung cost. Ibig sabihin yung natin ngayon is 140%. So, that is 140 less 100, 40% yung ating gross profit. Okay, to compute, total natin yung ating dalawang finished goods kasi ito naman yung nabenta. Total na natin para in-add natin yan. We have a total of 56,720. 1,720 mapupunta yan dito sa ating cost of goods sold. Kasi yan yung cost para maibenta natin yung ating product. Now, yung question, magkano yung gross profit? So, para ma-compute, 56,720 multiply natin sa 40%. So, yung 40% ng 56,720 is 22,688 pesos. So, kung ito yung ating gross profit, ibig sabihin lang, akyat tayo, is natin, add natin, 22,688 plus 56,720, that is 79,408 pesos yung ating sales. Pwede din, pag-compute nyo, 56,720 times 140%. So, makukuha nyo pa din 79,408. So, yung entry natin para sa pagkabenta ng ating product, debit, ng una yung cost of goods, 1,000. And then, i-credit natin yung ating inventory or yung specific account natin is finished goods. Finished goods natin, this 1,020. Another entry para sa ating since billed siya, ibig sabihin inutang, pabinayaran, debit, accounts receivable, and then we credit our sales. Ito na yung may 40%. 79,408 pesos. So, dito pala 'no, sa ating number 10, hindi tayo nakapag-entry kanina. Debit lang natin yung ating finished goods and then credit natin yung ating work in process. Lastly, cash collection from accounts receivable during August were 48,000. So, magiging entry natin 'yan. Debit tayo ng cash and then credit tayo ng accounts receivable of 48,000 pesos. I hope na this explanation maintindihan niyo yung ating cost accounting cycle and especially yung ating topic na job order costing. So, simple lang siya kung marunong tayong mag-entry at medyo bantayan lang natin yung pag-distribute ng ating mga cost by job order. So, again, God bless and good day.